Erica, and today I'm going to be teaching my friend Erin the basics of the cello. So we're going to start by how to get the cello out of the case, because it's kind of not the easiest thing.
Okay.
So the first thing that you always want to do is take the bow out, because if you don't take the bow out before you take off like this soft case, it can like break it. So you're going to open right there, pull out the bow, and don't touch the hair because that's bad. And then I would just put it across the back of your chair. Just be careful not to sit on it. Okay, the next step is the zippers are down at the bottom, so you're going to unzip both sides. I'll hold it up for you.
Oh, did I do it?
Yep. Okay. Alright, and then what I usually do is I put one hand in and grab the neck of the cello. Right there.
Okay.
And then you just kind of have to lift the case off with your other hand. There you go. Got it? Yeah. Okay. So there's that. Alright, the next step is to take out the end pin to the right height. So where you want it to be when you stand the cello up is when you stand up, it's the top of the cello, the scroll, should be right at your nose. So you're going to want to take the end pin out like a good amount for it to be there, and then we'll check it.
That's what I do, right?
Yep. You just pull on it.
And then do I like get up and test it?
Yeah, tighten it back up a little bit and then get up and see where it is.
Okay, I'm going that way.
So you can see it's still like probably 2 inches short, so you're going to want to let the end pin out a little bit more.
Okay. 2 inches.
Yeah, maybe 3.
Which way did I do it?
I don't know. There you go. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, there you go. That's good. So when you sit down, the cello, yeah, it goes in between your knees. And basically how you want to set it up is we learned that you make a little triangle with both feet and then the end pinned in the middle. Yeah.
That kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Where do your knees go? Like
They kind of go like inside right here. Actually, here, let me show you.
okay.
It's hard to explain. It's like when you have the cello, they go like right in this little.
Okay. Okay.
And it should be able to balance like in between your knees. Like that's how you support it. There you go. And then the base of the neck should be like right where it is, like at your chest. So that's good. And you have it on the right side, which is a good step. So I'll teach you the string names first. So on the cello, this thinnest string is the A string. And then we have the D string, the G string, and the C string. Yeah. And that's how you pluck them. So, that's fine. We'll leave that. And the next thing we can do is learn how to hold the bow correctly.
Okay.
So we're going to do an elementary bow grip because that's what we started on in class.
Okay.
And you're going to take your right hand, well, hold it up with your left hand like this in the center of the bow. And then you take your right hand and the thumb goes underneath, right where this metal part is. That's called the ring. And then we learned the bunny technique. So what that means is you have your thumb underneath, the 2 middle fingers stay together and they go down towards the ring. And then you have the ears of the bunny right here and they just kind of like lay down on the top, but not too close, but enough that it's balanced. Yeah, so you can try that.
Okay.
Do that with the left hand, yep.
Right.
To find the balance. Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Right, yep, thumb on the ring. And then just let the ears flop down. And like your knuckles should be right where they are, like on top of the wood.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Alright, so now you can hold the bow. And we learned the string names. So we can try playing some open strings. How you want the bow to hit the string, you want it to catch it just a little bit, but you're not really pressing down on it. You're just pulling it across the string. So why don't you try, we'll try starting on the D string. And another important thing before you play with the cello is how your elbows are, because that's all about like the balance while you're playing. So if you want them to be equal, and if one has to move up a little more, like say your right elbow has to move up a little more to reach the A string, which is the farthest string away, then your left elbow in turn is going to go down a little bit. And when you're not playing any strings, you can rest your left hand right on top of the cello like that. Yeah. Okay, so going for the D string, you're going to want to lift your elbow a pretty good amount. Yep, that looks good. And then your other one is fine, but yeah, out a little bit. And then you can just go ahead and pull it down. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty good. For this, like for beginning, you're always going to want to start in the frog of the bow, which is the end down here. And usually where we start, you don't have to start all the way at the end, but you can start like right past this part. And then, yeah, try and catch the string. Yeah. You hear how it's kind of like airy. Not airy because it's not a wind instrument, but like it's not quite like a clean sound.
Yeah.
You want to like just put a little bit of weight on the bow so that you can feel it like catching on the string and pull it across. Yeah, that was better. Okay, so that's D. And then you can play A as well. So you're going to want to lift the right elbow a little more and then pull to get the A so you don't hit the other strings. Yeah. Okay, and then why don't we do A and then D, and then we'll add G and C in a second. You can just stop and start on the frog. Yeah, okay, and then the next string is G, so you can do that one. Yep, and then C is the last one. Okay, so for C, you're going to want your elbow, your right elbow to be down a little bit more because you have to get the right angle. And you want the bow to be pretty much straight. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then really you have to really catch the thicker strings, so like put a little bit more weight on it. Yeah. Okay, that was pretty good. Alright, so you use the bow, which is good. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to work on is pizzicato on open strings. So to do pizzicato, that's when you pluck the string with your fingers, so you can put your bow down behind you for now. Okay, and then when you're gonna pluck, you pluck with the right hand and you put the thumb facing down on the side of the fingerboard. Yeah, a little. You don't have to do it that much, but that's good. And then you can pluck with either your first or your second finger, but I usually do the second, so I'd suggest that one. Yep, and we'll just do the open strings for now, so you can pluck all the way from A to C.
Should I go here or down?
Oh no, you want to go up a little bit on the fingerboard, past you see all this white rosin residue?
Yeah.
You want to go a little bit past that, just so you don't get it on your fingers, and that gives you a better sound. So yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay. So what we can do now, since you know the note names of each string as well as how to pluck, we can just go. I'll give you note names and you can pluck each one. We'll do 4 times.
Okay.
Great, so let's start on D. And C. And A. And D. And G. And A. And C. And D. And A. So I think the next thing we can do, we'll stay with pizzicato, but we can learn some of the fingerings on the D string. We'll just go up and down on that. So the D string, as you know, is the second string, and you're going to use your left hand how you want it. Yeah, see the very top tape? That's where your first finger is going to go. Yep, just like that. And then you always want your thumb to be lined up with your second finger on the back of the cello. Yeah, so you're going to want to put it right in between the 2 tapes there. And then your third finger goes on the second tape, on the second string.
Oh.
Yeah. And then your fourth finger just goes a little bit past your third finger because that's only a half step. Yeah, so that's where the placement is. And things you want to think about, for your thumb, you don't want it pressing against the back of the cello. You just want it gently resting there. And what we always say is if you had a grape between your thumb and the cello, you wouldn't want to squish it. So it's really not a lot of pressure. And also you want to play on the very tips of your fingers. So you're gonna push the string down with like just the tips of your fingers. And to get the right pressure without like pushing down on your thumb, it's about where your elbow is. So if your elbow's up more, you can put a little more pressure on your hand. As well as like if you're moving between strings, your left elbow is gonna have to be a little higher if you're going for the C string versus when you're going for the A string, it'll be down a little more just because of like the way you have to reach. And that's also has to do with the balance of your elbows. Like say you were playing on the A string, your right elbow is going to be really high to like reach the string without hitting the other ones. And then in turn your left elbow is down a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, so back on the D string, we're going to learn some fingerings. Open is your D, and then putting down 1 gives you E, and then you're going to put down 2 and 3 and keep 1 down, and that'll be F sharp, and then putting down 4 gives you G. Yep, that's good.
Okay.
And then if we want to do the whole scale, it's actually pretty easy because it's the same fingerings on the A string to continue it. So you do open A, and then 1 is B, and 3, and then 4. And then you can go back down. 3, 1. Oh, just 1. Yep. Open, and then 4. There you go. 1, open.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so that's really good. Let's do that one more time. Just going up. 1, 3, 4, open, 1, 3, 4.
Okay.
Actually, start open, sorry. Yep. 1. Yep. Yeah, that was really good. The only thing I noticed is that when you put down like 3 or 4, make sure that you keep down all your fingers.
Okay.
So that's like one thing that you can watch for, and that'll just help keep the whole string down to where you need it to be. Okay, so I think that the last thing that we could do is use the fingerings with bow, if you want. So you can pick your bow back up. And for this, we'll do each note for 2 beats, and then you can just go out, that's down bow, pulling out, and going back in is up bow. So you can just, for each one, change the direction of the bow. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so starting on open D, and then going Yeah, okay, no, that was great.
Yay.
Okay, thank you so much for being my student.